I know a lot of us have been keeping up with the stories like the Chris Watts stories and things like that, and I do it because I don't usually do this sort of thing, but Chris Watts to me took me, he just shocked me. I had no clue that somebody that seemed to be just nothing wrong with them whatsoever could ever done something so horrible. And then they come out with the Kelsey Berreth story. And I was like, oh my God, not again. All of them coming from Colorado. And the Kelsey Berreth really it broke my heart. There's a little girl involved there, and I was hoping, that she wasn't going to be hurt in the process as well. But Kelsey Berreth was a 29-year-old flight instructor with a 14-month-old daughter. She had called her mother Thanksgiving to get a recipe. Then, she took her daughter to a Safeway in Woodland Park, Colorado, where she was last seen by surveillance camera. November 22nd would be the last day anybody would hear from Kelsey Berreth. That is so heartbreaking to me, this story. We found out that she had a fiance, Patrick Frazee, who was 32 years old. He lived on a ranch with his mother, right? And we know that he, was involved with the rodeos. Now there's two things that they say about Patrick Frazee. He's a blacksmith, or what's the other thing? I'll have to get back to you on that. I can't remember. But they had two theories of what he did at the rodeo. And we can't seem to get a straight story on that one. I can't believe I forgot about that. I think it's because I don't feel so good tonight. But I've been wanting to get this done for a while now. So Patrick Frazee, he's a 32-year-old single bachelor who recently got engaged to Kelsey Berreth. Told authorities that Barreth dropped off their daughter at his house, and that was the last time he seen her. Well, we have a lot of stories floating around how that come about as well. I mean, we have some of the stories are saying that they met at a mutual place and exchanged the daughter. And then this other story says that Kelsie dropped off. Sorry about the clock. That Kelsie dropped off the daughter at his house. Kelsie and Patrick met online. I guess she fell in love with Patrick, and she moved from Idaho, which was her home state, to Colorado to be closer to Patrick. They didn't live together, and I found that kind of strange, he lived on this huge house on a ranch, but she had to buy her own house, and I guess I can't remember how many miles away, but it's a little bit of distance she lived from Patrick. The rumor has it that the mom is the reason why she did not move in with Patrick. But, there's nothing for certain yet. I mean, I'm finding out that there's just nothing for certain. But Kelsie went missing for 10 days, and nobody reported it. Nobody really noticed it. I mean, we would think that the mother would have noticed. We know Patrick had to have noticed, but to me, him not calling authorities or anything within, the first couple of days of not seeing Kelsie automatically made him guilty, in my opinion. Anyways, she was 10 days missing before anyone really realized that she was gone. And Kelsey's mom is the one that actually called the police for a welfare check. Uh, Investigators searched her home, and they found that, they still found her two cars sitting in the driveway, her toothbrush. There were cinnamon rolls that we've all heard about over and over again that were sitting out on the counter or the stove. We're not certain, but they were there. And they've been sitting there since Thanksgiving, they think. There's just no signs of her taking a trip or going on a vacation. Her case was treated as a missing persons case at first. And Patrick Frazee dodged the media, which had us really thinking, oh, definitely this guy's guilty, right? I mean, a lot of people, I'm reading your comments out there, and you guys have got it. You know what's going on. And, a lot of us, we had that bad feeling. Oh, no, after the Chris Watts, here we go again. And he even missed the press conference. And his excuse was he was not given an ample amount of time, so he wasn't able to make it to that press conference where Kelsey's mom is pleading, for her daughter to return back home safely. And that was really hard to watch, to see a mother in such pain. And you know that she's suspecting Patrick. I mean, she seems like a really intelligent woman, right? And it must be hard for her to sit there and not be able to point him out and say, what did you do with my daughter? I want to know where my daughter is. Most people found Patrick's behavior to seem very odd at the very beginning. Media followed Patrick around, which really showed us he really didn't care. He's carrying his daughter around. They're asking him questions, and he's just not answering anything. He has no care in the world other than escaping the spotlight, and him not, pleading for Kelsey's return and safety. It just really put the heat on him even more. December 21st, he was finally arrested, right? And he was arrested when he, I can't remember if he's driving down the driveway or driving back up to his house. It took 3 weeks of investigation for them to come up with enough evidence to finally take him into custody, which was for suspicion of first-degree murder and suspicion for solicitation of first-degree murder for the death of his fiance, I can't talk tonight, Kelsey Berreth. And there's really actually 3 charges, and one of they have 2 theories on how Kelsie was killed. And we know that they found a few things in her house that points and gives them an idea that maybe she was killed in her own home. And I think maybe they were trying to make it look like a robbery. But at this point, we really don't know much. At this point, we're trying to figure out what the heck, Police actually really did a good job taking him down, considering the fact that he was so hard to work with. So, you try to think, well, a lot of us are trying to figure it out already. We have hardly anything to go on. What in the world was his motive? You know, and at this time, when we don't know very much, my idea is this. I'm thinking it's you know, a love story gone bad, the War of the Roses, and he did not want to lose his daughter. I think she was about to leave, and, you know, he wanted to hold on to that daughter he loved so much. He wanted to make sure that she couldn't um, take her and leave him without being able to see her every single day. And I'm not positive on that. It's just my thought at the time. So Patrick and Kelsey's parents are fighting over the custody of that child. And at the moment, Kelsey's parents have temporary custody of the daughter. So that's good. We seen, I don't know if you guys seen it, but the Patrick's mom was going into the court fighting for custody of that child, and that's just one thing. I feel that that child is the number one priority, and the reason why Kelsey's dead is to get custody of that child. So, okay, so they waited till after Christmas before he found out anything else, and as time rolled on, we started to see that there was more evidence coming out, and we had a mistress involved. So they thought. In my opinion, I don't think it was an actual mistress. I think it was a girl that he could manipulate. I really don't think that he had anything serious going with her, but we'll see in the future. Um, and her name was Krystal Lee. She's a nurse. And the thing is they're telling us different stories of how these people met. And one of the stories is they met at the rodeo, but they have this couple that has come out from a law, I think they're lawyers, saying they have a tell-all going on. One of their employees mentioned that Krystal said to them,
one of their employees came to them. Joe and Patty Roxall tell us last October, one of their employees came to them visibly upset. She explained her best friend, now identified as Krystal Lee, told her that a man had asked her to kill the mother of his child. The two then told their employee to have Krystal come speak to them, but she never did. The Roxalls say Krystal even told her best friend to forget the whole thing. When we asked Patty what made her come forward and call the FBI, she said it was when she connected the dots of who was involved and watching Kelsey's mother, Cheryl, plead for help on national television.
I think the mother that had the courage to go on TV when her daughter was missing and saying that someone knew where she was at. And at that point, I, in my mind, thought that Patrick, and that was the only name I had heard him call that didn't know his last name, had done something to her daughter, and he knew where she was at.
Now, the Roxalls decided to come forward to KMBT News after their employee endured harassment and threats on social media. They tell us the FBI was already in Twin Falls at their office quickly after making the call. KMBT asked Patty Roxall if she considers herself a hero. She said no, she more considers herself a whistleblower and hopes anyone else with information to the case or other crimes has the courage, like she did, to come forward. This is just part of one very comprehensive interview. Coming up on Friday, you'll find out more about what was said in that.
They had met in high school, that they were actually high school sweethearts. But, you know, like I said, right now we don't have any solid stories, evidence, or anything. You do not want to jeopardize this, everything. They want to make sure that they can get Patrick. And if they, you know, get too much information out there, it can jeopardize everything they worked hard. So, right now I'm working on information on Krystal Lee. and I'm going to share some of that with you shortly. Okay, next we'll be going over the timeline. I've done this timeline by hand, so bear with me. I didn't have much time. So November 22nd, Kelsie is last seen by Patrick dropping off their daughter. We're unsure and unclear of how that happened. Also, they know that she is alive November 22nd due to a security camera. November 25th, Kelsey's employer gets a text. It says that she will not be in to work. December 2nd, Kelsey's mom tries to reach her, but is unable to. So this is when she files a missing person and requests a welfare check. Patrick says that he had not heard from her since she last texted him when Cheryl called him. December 3rd, the Woodland Park Police Department reaches out to the public. They send out missing persons pamphlets, trying to find out something, anything they can at this point. December 5th, Kelsey's loved ones and family create a Facebook page, trying to reach out and see if anybody has any information on their missing daughter. December 6th, Kelsey's parents give a character review of who Kelsie is. And she says she's not the type of person that just leaves without telling anyone. December 7th, Kelsey's brother in Washington is holding a prayer with the locals there. December 10th, Cheryl attends a news conference along with the Woodland Police Department to share what they know. And at this point, Frazee has an excuse why he could not attend this conference. And it was because he didn't have notice enough. December 11th, Safeway footage is released. December 13th, Kelsey's mother speaks to NBC and explains to them everything she knows about her missing daughter. During that interview, she didn't say much. So Friday, December 14th, a search warrant was issued for Patrick Frazee for his ranch. December 16th, authorities complete the search at Frazee's home. We don't know what they found. They're not going to let us know because it can jeopardize everything that they worked so hard for. But they also announced that there would be a $25,000 reward for any information leading to Kelsey's disappearance, which oddly, something strange happens afterwards the next day. December 17th, the Rockstyles, and I hope I said that right, they called the FBI with information about Patrick Frazee and Krystal Lee / Kenny. They're supposedly attorneys, and it's just strange that suddenly, after the reward is offered, here they are, but I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it or if it took that money to get their attention and put the pieces together that they knew something about the case. There is something really strange with those two. A lot of us see it. I've read comments, and I agree with a lot of the comments that I've seen out there on that. Some people believe that these two, since they're attorneys, are probably really good friends with Krystal Lee and possibly trying to figure out a way to help her get off from all this mess she's gotten into. But we don't know that for a fact. That's definitely something we all want to keep our eye on, right? Okay, so December 18th, police revisit Frazee's ranch. We're not sure why, and we won't find out, I'm sure. So Sonia Oliver, as a friend of Frazee, says that she's known him for 5 years and that she's always considered Patrick to be a gentle soul. So she really don't think that he could do something like that. But don't they all? Every friend that we see, they never suspected. So Friday, December 21st, Frazee is finally arrested at 7 in the morning. I believe they arrested him in his driveway. I can't remember if it was to or from. And my idea is that, at that point, they should have treated Kelsie as if she's still alive. I mean, he could be holding her hostage somewhere. We don't know. But anyways, at that point, we find out that they believe that she is dead. So December 22nd, Twin Falls, Idaho helps the Colorado police in recovering evidence, and they serve several warrants, but we don't know to whom. So December 27th, they have an emergency custody hearing, and it's quite a battle. It's between Sheila, Frazee's mother, and Kelsey's mother, Cheryl, and they ended up giving custody to Kelsey's mom. I don't know about you, but I was rooting for Kelsey's mom to get custody of the darling little daughter that they had. That daughter is just so adorable, and it's a shame that the poor child has to go through all this. Okay, so on December 31st, Frazee is formally charged with Kelsey's murder. They have two theories of how he did it, and I'll try to get it here. Hang on. So he says here that one of the murder charges mentions an accusation of robbery, indicating that she was killed during the commission of a separate crime. So this is a little confusing to me. It's not quite clear what they're trying to say right here, but I'm sure to come out pretty soon. And then we have the second charge, which is a little bit unclear as well. I mean, they are definitely not giving any type of information out. The other murder charge alleges that Frazee himself deliberately caused the death of Kelsie with the intent to do so, which I hope they're able to prove that, because that's evidently so. Which we've all heard the rumor that the police knew about he was planning this murder for up to 3 months ahead of time. And so on January 3rd, Krystal Lee / Kenny is considered a possible suspect. She's being investigated for supposedly disposing Kelsey's cell phone not too far from where she lives, in fact. Which is not too far from the Twin Falls area. So that's about 600 miles away from Woodland Park. I can't wait to hear more information on that. And for the latest information that I've received, January 4th, Kelsey's parents, Cheryl and Dare Barreth, are filing a wrongful death suit against Patrick Frazee. And so that's all the latest that I have, but every day we have something new coming out, especially on Krystal Lee. Every day we're finding out something new about her. I'm sure it's people leaking, and the attorneys are hoping and crossing their fingers that none of this stuff will get out, but it is. Kelsey Lee, for example, she is has several different stories about how they met, how her and Patrick Frazee met. But in my opinion, it seems to me that he manipulated this girl. I'm not positive on that, but it seems so. I don't think they had this very close relationship as media made it seem like at the beginning. It seems to me that he knew he could manipulate this girl, and he's probably done it before. But as time goes on, we will learn more and more. The few things that we do know is that she's a 32-year-old nurse. She's divorced, I think, 2016. Her maiden name, I think, is Kenny. And we know that she's recently been fired. And the rock stalls that come out as speaking about her as if they know her, yet they got their information through a best friend that works for their office. Something is very fishy about them, guys. I can't figure out what it is, but I can tell you, I'm going to be reading your comments. I don't care whose video it's on as I research more and seeing what other people think, because I feel like something's just not right about their story. It almost seems like they're trying to help her out, helping her to get off and get out of getting in trouble. The one thing that was interesting to me, though, is how they mentioned at one point that he kind of made a threat to Krystal. You know, as if he had killed before. You know, he says little children go missing all the time on playgrounds. We don't know for sure, but it's still creepy to see all of this coming out now. I want to say thank you for watching. This is one of my first videos that I actually tried to put together and put out there. I usually just use it as a diary, but I've been researching this anyway, so I wanted to share with you guys everything that I learned. So if you find it helpful or entertainment, just subscribe, like, and I plan on making new videos. So that way you can get notices whenever I post a new one. So thanks for watching.